Back again with the playthrough continued. We're going to draw a card from the Brotherhood deck. And it is a Boris. A fighter adjacent to this enemy cannot move unless they discard one grapple defense token and place it on this card. He comes in with 6 health. He attacks for 2 and comes in with 2 punch defense tokens. For my first step, I'm going to move 2. For my action step, I'm going to interact with the token and flip an inactive objective in an adjacent space, then flip each power on that objective's card to the defense token side and gain it. So I'll go ahead and gain these defense tokens now. It's a grapple and a kick, and I will flip the objective marker to its active side. I can't play a card because the cards in my hand don't allow for ranged attacks, so we will move on to activating my threat area. So we're going to activate Orphan again. Discard 1 card unless you discard 1 defense token. So we'll go ahead and discard a punch defense token. Drago's going to activate, and he says advance 3 spaces toward the nearest fighter and attack with 3 dice. Then, if unengaged, gain 1 random defense token. So he will move 1, 2, and he's going to attack me with 3 white die. So he's attacked me with a punch and 2 grapple. We will use 1 grapple, flip it over, and then take 2 damage. Boris is going to activate and advance 3 spaces toward the nearest fighter and attack with 2 dice. Then this enemy gets +1 attack value if it did not move before its attack. So he's going to advance 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and then we get to draw a card. We got a Rush B. This is the second one in our hand. Dimitri activates. He cannot attack since he's not engaged with me, so we'll go ahead and resolve his equip effect. So we're going to discard the topmost card of the enemy deck. It is a gear card. And then put the topmost gear card in the enemy discard pile into play. So we will add that gear card, the Kevlar, which reads, when this activates, if Dimitri has less than 5 defense tokens, he gains 3 random defense tokens. We'll put that into a stage area. Then we will activate Armed Intruders. Each enemy moves 3 spaces toward the nearest objective. Place 1 power on each objective that has at least 1 enemy engaged with it. Then defeat 1 objective that has 5 or more power on it and is engaged with at least 1 enemy. So Boris is going to move 1, 2. Drago's going to move 1. And Dimitri is going to move 1, 2, 3. Since the objective has an enemy engaged with it, it's going to take 1 power. So we'll go ahead and put that on his card. Trusty Kevlar is now going to activate, and Dimitri is going to gain 3 random defense tokens since he only has 1. He's going to get a kick, and a grapple. We'll move on to the stage step. Activate if this objective is inactive. Place 1 power on it. Well, it's not. Otherwise, it moves 2 spaces so that it is farther from the nearest enemy, moving towards a safe house in case of a tie. So it's going to move 1, 2. Next, we need to draw a card from the Compromise deck. And we get another Scared Staff. We'll go ahead and put this in the stage area and put its objective on its inactive side on the board. Alright, let's move to the next fighter phase. We're going to draw a card from the Brotherhood deck. We get a Hold Them Back. Each Boris in play immediately attacks, gaining +1 grapple result. Alright, not good. So Boris is going to attack with 2 white dice, as well as has an extra grapple. So he's doing a punch and a kick and a grapple damage. So we can block the kick damage, and then we're going to take 2 more damage. Currently, we're sitting at 4 damage. So for my first step, I'm going to play a Sonic Blade. And it says, attack with 2 red die. Before this attack, you may discard up to 3 cards from your hand or your fighter play area to add +1 die to this attack for each card discarded. And this is a punch attack. We're going to discard 3 cards. So we're going to roll a total of 5 dice, and this is doing punch damage. I will be attacking Dimitri since he has no punch defense tokens, and I need to start getting his health down because this could be a quick game. All right, so I have to roll 5 dice. Once again, I only have 4. So we're at 3 punch damage that we're doing and 1 punch defense. And I have to roll 1 more die. So we're doing a total of 4 punch damage. Dimitri will take 4 damage. So I've played a card. For my action step, I'm going to do a crippling strike, which is my hero special ability. I'm going to attack with 2 red dice, and this attack does general damage. Then exhaust a minion targeted by this attack and draw 1 card. So I'm going to attack Drago because he hits harder than Boris does, and I will attack him with 2 red die. So it's 2 general damage, and he'll just block. Looking at his card, he'll block them, so let's just take 2 grapple away from him. But more importantly, it exhausts him. For my move step, I wish I could move out of the way, but unfortunately I cannot because of Boris's special ability. I would have to discard a grapple defense token, and I do not have one. So that will be the end of my turn. Let's go ahead and move to activating the threats in my threat area. Orphaned again is going to activate, and so I'm going to discard a punch defense token. Instead of Drago activating, he's just going to unexhaust. And Boris is going to attack me with 2 dice, and he's going to get +1 attack value if it did not move before its attack. So he's actually going to attack me with 3 white dice. So grapple, kick, and punch. I have no defense tokens, so I will just take those 3 damage. And I will sub 5 out for a 5. Alright, Dimitri's going to activate. It says he attacks, and he's engaged with me, so he can, but I'm going to discard Recon. When an enemy would attack a fighter before dice are rolled, you may discard this card to cancel the attack. So we'll go ahead and cancel that now. Armed Intruders will activate. Each enemy moves 3 spaces toward the nearest objective. Place 1 power on each objective that has at least 1 enemy engaged with it. Then defeat 1 objective that has 5 or more power on it and is engaged with at least 1 enemy. So Boris will move right here to be engaged with it. And Drago is going to move 1, 2, 3. Since it has an engaged enemy with it, we'll place 1 power on the Scared Staff. Trusty Kevlar will not activate, and says if Dimitri has less than 5 defense tokens, he gains 3 random defense tokens. Well, he has 4, so unfortunately this does go off, so he's going to get 3 more defense tokens. Gets 2 punches and a grapple. Both Scared Staff are going to activate. The green one will move, and the blue one will just place 1 power on it. As it's gaining fear, it's inactive. And we'll move this one, 1, 2, and place a power on the blue one. We need to draw a card from the Compromise deck. And now the red Scared Staff comes into play, inactive. Alright, back to the fighter turn. We'll draw a card from the Brotherhood deck. And it's N40 Punisher. Dimitri attacks each fighter engaged with him. If no fighter was attacked this way, shuffle this card into the enemy deck to deal the fighter nearest Dimitri 1 direct damage. This is not looking good. I think my best bet is to try to gain 2 random defense tokens as my action so that I can move away from Boris. I got a grapple and a punch defense token. So now I'm going to play a card. Rush B. You may move up to 4 spaces. Each time you enter a space during this movement, you may attack with 1 die, dealing direct damage. Each of these 3 attacks deals +1 direct damage if you have not attacked that target yet this turn. Alright, so I'm going to move here for 1, and in order to do that, I have to discard a grapple because of Boris' special effect, so I'll discard that. And then I will roll 1 red die with +1 direct damage because of the card. It's the first time I'm attacking Dimitri. So we got a crit. Perfect. Alright, another crit. Oh my goodness, are you serious? 3 crits? So we're dealing 5 direct damage for this first movement and attack. We got 3 more. That's fantastic. I also get a defense token of my choice, so I'm going to go ahead and get a grapple. That could come in handy with Boris. And we'll go ahead and put 5 damage on Dimitri. We will move again. This is my second movement. And we will roll 1 red die. And that's just simply 1 direct damage. So we'll put another one on Dimitri, making his total damage 10. So he's halfway to being dead. I will move again for my third. And attack him again. All right. Another crit. I like these dice tonight. Yes, another crit. Okay, that's 2. Let's expand it a little bit so you can see the actual dice roll. And 3. All right. So that is 3 more direct damage going on Dimitri. That's what I'm talking about. We'll go ahead and put 3 on here and swap out these 5 and this 5 for a 10. So Dimitri's not looking so hot now, are you, buddy? For my last move, I'm going to move back down here and attack Dimitri with 1 more red die. I'd love to count that, but either last episode or 2 episodes ago, I re-rolled it, so let's re-roll it. Alright, so 1 more direct damage goes on Dimitri, and I get a token of my choice. I will go ahead and get a grapple, because I think it is beneficial for Boris's. So I have played a card. I have done my action step, so now I get to move. So let's just move away from Boris and Drago, and go 1, 2, 3. And the next turn I can activate this red one that's up next to it, and that will be that. I'd say that's a good turn. Dimitri has a total of 14 damage on him currently. We'll go ahead and activate my threat area. Orphaned again will activate first. We're going to discard 1 defense token, and it's going to be a punch. Drago is now going to activate, and he's going to advance 3 spaces towards me and attack. And he will be engaged at that point, so he will attack me with 3 white die. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and attack me with 3 white die. So grapple, grapple, kick. I'm going to block 2 of the grapples and take 1 damage. And that gives me 4 charged up of 6. So I'm almost charged up. Boris is now going to activate and simply advance 3 spaces toward the nearest fighter and attack. And he's not going to be able to attack because he's too far away. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3. And can't forget to draw a card. Commando, and this is just my basic one. This isn't my leveled up one. So Dimitri's going to activate. He cannot attack since he's not engaged with me, so he's going to do the equip effect. And he's going to discard the top card of the enemy deck. It is not a gear card. Currently there are no gear cards in my discard pile. So Dimitri will simply gain 1 random defense token. And it's a grapple. Armed intruders will not activate, and each enemy is going to move 3 spaces toward the nearest objective, and then after that, each objective that has an enemy engaged with it is going to get 1 power. So Dimitri is going to move towards the green objective, 1, 2. Drago is going to move towards the red objective, 1, 2. And Boris is going to move towards the red objective, 1, 2. Both the red and green objectives are going to get 1 power. Next, his Kevlar is going to activate, but he has more than 5 defense tokens, so he won't gain any more. And his N40 Punisher is going to activate. Dimitri attacks each fighter engaged with him. If no fighter was attacked this way, shuffle this card back into the enemy deck to deal the fighter nearest Dimitri 1 direct damage. So we'll simply take 1 direct damage since we're the only fighter. That now gives us a total of 9 of 18 damage. We then need to draw a card from the stage deck. Calming Words event. The fighter with the least defense tokens places this card in their play area. Feint. Choose 1 active objective and discard up to 4 defense tokens. You may move the chosen objective token 1 space for each defense token discarded. Well, that's great, except I don't have any defense tokens currently. Technically, before we drew that card, we should have activated our 3 Scared Staff. So blue and red are just going to get 1 power placed on them since they are inactive. And green is going to move 2 spaces away from Dimitri. All right, now that we got all that sorted out, we'll go back to the fighter turn where we have to draw a card from the Brotherhood deck. Extra ammo. Each fighter suffers 1 direct damage for each Anastasia in play. If no Anastasia is in play, Dimitri deals each fighter 2 direct damage. Wow, okay. So no Anastasias are in play, so I get 2 direct damage. And we will go ahead and sub out these 5 and this 5 for 10. And we've taken 11 damage of our possible 18. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my action to interact with the red objective token, and I get to flip it and take the defense tokens on it and gain them. So I gain a grapple and a punch. I think I just have to move and get out of the way of Boris. So I'm going to discard the 1 grapple defense token I have and move 3 away. 1, 2, 3. For my card step, I'm going to play Commando. My attacks gain +1 die from now on, and each fighter gains 2 defense tokens of their choice. Then each fighter with at least 1 of each type of defense token heals 2 damage. I can also feint this to move 3 spaces and play 1 attack card from your discard pile. We will then activate my threat area, so Orphan again will activate, and I'm going to go ahead and discard a card from my hand, Sonic Blade, and this is the last card in my hand. Drago is then going to activate, advance 3 spaces towards me, and attack. So it's going to go 1, 2, and he's going to attack with 3 white dice. We get 2 grapple and a punch. I am going to block the punch and take 2 damage. Boris is now going to activate and advance 3 spaces towards me and attack. So 1, 2, 3. And he attacks with 2 white dice. So he gets a grapple and a punch. I have no defense tokens, so I'll be taking 2 more damage. That now gives us a total of 15 damage of our possible 18. We will then draw a card. And we got Disarm. Attack with 2 red dice. After resolving this attack, you may discard 1 card controlled by the target or draw 1 card. And it's a grapple attack. So Dimitri is going to activate and discard the top card of the Brotherhood deck. It is not a gear card, so this simply goes to the discard pile. Armed Intruders will now activate, so the enemies will move closer to the objectives. And then if they're engaged with it, the objectives are going to take 1 power. So Dimitri is going to move towards green. 1, 2. Boris is going to move towards red. And Drago is going to move towards red. So both red and green are going to take a power. That gives green 4 and red 1. 1 more on green and he will be executed. Trusty Kevlar will activate, but he has more than 5 defense tokens, so it won't do anything. Alright, so green and red are going to try to move, and blue is just going to get 1 more power. So red will move. 1, 2. And green will move. Let's move him 1, 2. And then let's draw a compromise card. The purple Scared Staff is coming out on the board. And we will go ahead and place it on the board and active side up. Alright, back to the fighter turn. I'm going to draw a card from the Brotherhood deck. It's a blue Boris. I'll put him in my threat area. And he comes into play right next to me. What terrible luck. So for my first action, I'm going to gain defense tokens. I need to get a grapple in order to move away from him. And I don't get it, so it's a punch and a kick defense token. So I'm simply going to try to disarm him, even though he has no cards attached to him. So I'm going to attack with 2 red dice normally, but because I have Commando in play, it's going to be 3 red dice. After resolving this attack, you may discard 1 card controlled by the target or draw 1 card. So I will take the latter, and this is going to be grapple damage. So 3 red dice. All right, attacking Boris. So let's go ahead and take our grapple defense token, and then we need to roll another die. So we're doing 3 grapple damage. And he does not have any grapple defense, so he's going to take 3 damage. Now I'm going to discard the grapple defense token, and I can move So I'm going to move. I think I really need to try to get that loot. So 1, 2, 3. Draw a loot card. And it is Smoke Bombs. Place 3 power on this card. At any time you may discard 1 power from this card to move 1 space. Discard this card if it has no power that remains on it. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, and we'll see why here in a second. So I'm choosing to do that so I can feint my commando, which says move 3 spaces and play 1 attack card from your discard pile. So I'll go ahead and put commando in my discard pile, and then I will move 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, to be adjacent to Dimitri. And then I will play a snap kick, which says attack with 1 red die. After the attack, you may discard 1 card to attack with 1 red die, adding +1 red die to your attack for each stealth card in your discard pile. So I'm going to first off attack with 1 red die, and it's going to be kick damage. So I'm going to get a kick defense, and I will do 1 kick damage, which he will block. Then I will discard the card I got from my disarm effect from the last card I played. So I will discard this, and I'm going to add +1 die to the attack for each stealth card in your discard pile. So looking at that, I have 1, 2. So I will be attacking with 3 total dice, doing kick damage. So I do 3 kick damage and get 2 kick defense tokens. He will block 1 of the kicks, and will be taking 2 more damage. I'm going to go ahead and sub some of these out for a 5. So now he's at 16 of 20. 16 damage of 20. 4 more. I could beat him next turn maybe. I just got to survive. Alright, so with that, we need to activate my threat area. Orphaned again will activate first, and I have no cards in my hand, so I'm going to have to discard 1 defense token. I will discard a kick. Drago's going to move. He's going to advance 3 spaces toward me and gain 1 random defense token. 1, 2, 3. And gain a random defense token. Is a punch. So he's getting another punch defense, giving him 2. Both Borises will activate 3 spaces towards me. So this Boris will activate 1, 2, 3. This Boris will activate 1, 2, 3. Now the rule says this is treated as a figure. Now it's not an enemy, so it says enemies can move through enemies, fighters can move through fighters, and bosses can move through anyone. So I think the Boris would have had to go around there, but that could be incorrect. I'm not 100% sure. Now that the enemies have activated in my threat area, I need to draw a card, and it is Infiltrate. I can exhaust it to return 1 stealth card from your discard pile to your hand, and as an action, I can reveal the top card of any fighter deck, and then either put that card into play or discard it. Then you may discard this card to attack, dealing direct damage. Oh, yes, please. Alright, I think I can do this if I can just survive this turn. So Dimitri is going to activate and attack me with 4 white dice. I need to see kicks here. That's 3, the other one fell on the ground. So we have 2 punches, a grapple, and a kick. So we will block the kick, we will block 1 of the punches, and we will take 2 damage, giving us 17 out of 18. But blocking that damage gave us 6 power-ups, so we are fully charged up. I will discard 6 of these power-ups, leaving 1, because we had 7. Ah, so close. Armed intruders will activate, so each enemy is going to go 3 spaces toward the nearest objective, and then each objective that has an engaged enemy is going to get a power token, and then his trusty Kevlar is not going to activate since he has more than 5 defense tokens. So Dimitri is going to move 1, 2 here. Drago will move here. Boris will move here, and the other Boris will move down here. So red and green are going to get another power token. So now, since that is the 5th one on green and Dimitri is engaged with it, that scared staff is unfortunately going to be killed. So remember, our objective is, or the boss's objective is, if they get 2 killed objectives, they win. So that they're halfway to being done. So unlike other objectives and other scenarios, this does not get reshuffled back into the stage deck. This specifically says to remove it from the game. So this green one won't come back out. All right, so now we need to activate the stage area. Both blue and purple are going to get a power, and red is going to move. Then we need to draw 1 compromise card. Rising Fear event. Place 1 power on each inactive scared staff. So we will place a power on the blue scared staff as well as the purple scared staff. So if an enemy becomes engaged with the blue one and Armed Intruders activates, we lose. All right, fighter turn. This could be it. This could do it. Feels so close. All right, Brotherhood, we're going to draw a card. Steely Defense. Each fighter activates 1 Drago card in their threat area if able. Oh, we got really lucky. So Drago is going to activate and advance 3 spaces toward the nearest fighter and attack. Then if unengaged, gain 1 random defense token. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I don't think I would have survived his attack. And he's going to gain 1 random defense token since he's not engaged. And it's a punch defense. Alright, it comes down to this. We need to do 4 damage. So for my first step, I'm going to move to become engaged with Dimitri. 1, 2, 3. I get a loot. Please be good. Please be good. Energy drink. At any time, you may discard this card to gain 2 power. Not what I was hoping for. And now, we're going to use our action on our hero card to attack with 3 red dice. This attack deals direct damage. I also get +1 direct damage to my attacks. So if I hit on all 3 red dice, I'm going to be dealing 4 direct damage, and that will win us the game. Oh boy. All right, here we go. We're going to roll 3 red dice. That's it. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. So 1, 2, 3, 4 damage plus my +1 direct damage. So we are doing 5 direct damage to Dimitri. And that will give him 21 out of 20 hit points, and he will be defeated. Whew! I did not think that was happening. Alright, so it turns out I didn't set that up correctly. So that's no good. So we should have used the staged original copy. And there was stage setup, and the bottom line is we were trying to find a serum for Zane to try to help him. So we're going to say that we did not find it since we played the wrong stage, but that's okay, you learn. Now that you've seen this, you can know what to do. Make sure you read this black text. I thought this was a bonus stage that you could do after you do this one, but apparently that was not the case. So let's just flip it over and see what happens, and we'll say we did not find the serum. Her vision began to blur as she slumped to the ground, finally letting the exhaustion overtake her. Death seemed imminent. Natalia awoke several hours later, empty-handed. She pieced together the events that led up to her failure, and then it all began to sink in. Zane would ultimately succumb to his injuries, and Natalia was powerless to help him now. Choose 1 upgrade card to add to the story pool and advance to part 3B. So there are so many good upgrade cards to choose from. I'm having a hard time just picking one, but I'm not going to show you all of them because I don't want to spoil them. So if you play with Natalia, you can see what they all are. But I'm going to go ahead and choose Recon, removing the other one from my deck, or one of the other ones from my deck. So here's the before and after of each card. So not only do we get to cancel attacks now, but the target of that attack, which would be me, would gain 3 random defense tokens. Then I can exhaust to gain 1 of each type of defense token, and I can feint it to choose a fighter to draw 2 cards. So that is definitely going into my deck. So come back for my next video where we will try to defeat this last stage and complete her story.